What up, though? Welcome back to my channel. It's Big Jinx, the big Zaddy of anime. That's Zaddy with a Z. Don't forget the Z. The world's first anime connoisseur. And I'm coming to you with a season review. That means what's going on this season in the anime world. I have about 30 to 32 series to review with you guys. That's a lot. But these are the series that I'm actually following and I'm actually keeping up with. So I'm gonna give a quick synopsis of the story of the anime, my thoughts on the anime, and an overall rating so far. Most of these animes, all of these animes are actually still going. They're on their like 5th or 6th episode. So these are like the mid-season or mid-series reviews for a lot of these series. But it's good because when you have about 5 episodes in, you can kind of tell how the series is going to go and where the series is going. So, with that being said, let's just jump right into it. My first anime that I'm going to review is Redo of Healer. Now, the plot of this one is that a destined hero who was... And let me pause. Y'all already know. I come with notes. And we got a lot to review. Notes. So, like I said, I'm ready to bring it to you straight up. Let me just get a sip of water real quick. You know it's serious when a man's drinking water while he's doing this. You know he about to do some talking. God dang. Alright. So, Redo of Healer. So, Redo of Healer is a destined hero who was chosen to be part of this hero squad to defeat the Demon Lord. On his first voyage, he was apparently manipulated by some of the people in the parties and treated horribly. I mean, they did unspeakable things to this guy. So he devised a plot to betray everybody. He obtained some kind of stone or ability from the Demon Lord to basically go back in time or redo the world. So he has basically another chance at life. Well, his purpose in this new life that he has is to seek revenge on all those who fucked him over. And bruh, he's doing that. Alright? So, my thoughts on it is that I'm very impressed with this one. I mean, off rip, it becomes very dark. And I have to admit, I'm a big fan of dark animes. When they get into the deep depths of the soul, you know, it's not so lighthearted all the time. It's this one is a dark one, and it gets dark. So what I really like is that the anime is not afraid to be edgy. The story is kind of unique. I mean, the redoing of life is a unique story, but the way they go about it to where this is a dark redoing of your life, right? Where you're like, the people around are probably like, I wish you just kept it the same, you know? But I'm interested to see where the story is going. I'm very interested in the abilities of the cast and the characters. So overall, at this point, I'm giving this a 7.2. Very impressed by the series. I'm very interested in seeing how this ends and the journey in between. Alright? The next one is Project Scarred. Project Scarred is about different factions that live in this Neo-Tokyo area. Right? It's like more so of a lawless Tokyo. You have this hero of the city, Eiji. You have this hero of the city, Eiji, who basically comes to the rescue of those citizens in the town. And he meets this kid, Yamato Kai, during one of their through a chance encounter, basically. So, in this lawless Tokyo, you have these people with what's called these people with tattoos called the Scarred. They're people with abilities, and these tattoos are represent divine beasts and gods who they obtain their tattoo from or their abilities from. Like I said, there's different factions. Like Helios, who protect the city. You have Artemis, who maintains security and control, but also get a little bit of financial, have a financial interest in saving people. And then you have the public security special service, which is basically the scarred staff of the Metropolitan Police. So basically, you have these three big factions, and there's other factions around the city, but those are the three main ones. They're battling it out for their different interests. My overall thoughts on the show so far is that I'm just not sold on this one. I mean, the artwork reminds me of that series. It was a series about a year or two ago called K. Now, with this series, although the artwork is similar to K, I think I was really more interested in K than this one. This one, it's just falling short of what I expected, and it just tries to rely on the artwork too much, and it lacks in the story. Because I'm still like 5 or 6 episodes into the show, and I'm still thinking, like, what's the point here? Where are we going? What are we doing? What's happening? And random events continue to occur with no real purpose. So with this one, don't let the artwork fool you. The artwork is beautifully done. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But look past the artwork. Like the artwork is what draws you in. But once you get past and get used to the artwork, then you're like, what else is there to the anime? So far I'm giving this a 5.3. I'm gonna keep watching, see where it goes, but my next one is King's Raid. Boom. King's Raid is actually based on the video game, and you'll see a few animes now that are coming out now are based on their on their video game version. But in this fantasy world with kings and lords, there are signs of the demon lord's return, and a lot of distrust among the people. Heroes must rise up, and it's all about who's going to be this hero. And different stories are happening during the show. One with dark elves, the other one with this group that's traveling around trying to find the heroic sword. The main protagonist is Cassel, and his companions, as they're trying to seek a way to save the kingdom from the return of the Dark Lord. My biggest issue with this one is that, well, overall it's okay. It's an okay series so far. I mean, good action scenes, nothing overly flashy, but I have a problem with the bad guy, one of the main bad guys. He's just not doing it for me, and sometimes that can kill a series when you don't like who the enemy is. It can hurt a show. If you watch the show and you're like, man, my man over here is a G, but the dude they facing look like it's just corny. It kind of hurts the show. It hurts it because you lose kind of interest in the battle, but it's okay so far. Here and there's a little bit of depth coming out of the anime, and it's being explored to a greater extent as the show goes on. The story is, but it seems like with the Dark Elves and with Cassel's group, the two stories going along at the same time actually hurt and help each other, right? Because it divides your attention in the show, but you're also interested in how the show progresses, because kind of like a game that you're playing with two different outcomes or multiple outcomes, kind of like seeing where these outcomes are going to go is kind of interesting. And there's these two main storylines that kind of coincide with each other and progress at the same time. And you want to see where each one leads to. Overall, I gave that one a 5.8. Like I said, there's nothing too telling about this series. It's not a great series so far. I hate the look of the bad guys, but the action sequences are okay. The story is starting to get depth, and it's starting to actually show the purpose of the story and where things are going. Alright, moving on. The next one is the hidden dungeon only I can enter. Right? This one I like. So, in this medieval times era where dungeons are places of legend, a kid, Noir, who has the rare ability called Great Sage, finds a dungeon where a legendary adventurer is trapped. The adventurer gives him 3 skills, which are used by Noir while he attends the Hero Academy. The skills he obtains uses what's called life points. Anybody familiar with games, you know what life points are. To replenish his life points, he has to do exciting things with members of the opposite sex. So there's a little bit of a little risque business. Anyways, it does get on a bit of the sappy side from times, but it's just interesting to see how Noir uses these abilities. There are 3 abilities, but they have the potential to be so powerful that it's all about how they're used, and that's where the creativity of the show is comes into play. It actually makes it or increases my opinion of the show. I like the show. Don't get me wrong, but I gave this a 5.6. There's no battle scenes really. There's nothing to show how these abilities are being used except for in very specific sappy ways that you don't want to see these abilities used for. Like, you don't want to see these abilities wasted in the way that they're using them so far. I want battle. I want fights. I wants it. I needs it. And either they give it to me, or I'm gonna throw this anime into the trash. Like, for real. I think it has the potential to get to a 6.1, 6.2 by the end of the series. But for right now, it's a 5.6. Alright. So we have the next one going into So I'm a Spider. So what? This one piques my interest. The plot of the story is, on a normal school day, a tragedy occurs, killing everyone at a school. So it starts in a modern day school, and all of a sudden something happens, everybody's dead at the school. A group of students are reincarnated into another world. Reincarnation story. But they retain their memories from their previous life. That's the interesting part. Well, kind of interesting. It's nothing new, but it makes it interesting. Especially with the way the story is being told. So they remember who they used to be. One in particular is Komoko. She's reincarnated as a little ass spider, while the others are like humans or dragons or other things. Komoko must survive and discover the world that she lives in, and she discovers that the world is like an RPG, of which she has to build build up her character. So she has to survive through these. She has to go through every which way to survive, and try to find a way to get stronger, basically. My thoughts is that I love this show. It's building on. It continues to build on the story, but so far it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious. There's not much action. It's not a action anime, but it has the potential to be one eventually. And that's where I see it going. So far, it's just a funny anime, and you're really rooting for Komoko to get stronger and get better. You're like, keep going, keep fighting, let's go. And as you discover the mysteries of the new world, you're interested in seeing the abilities develop. And that's what I'm saying. It has the potential to go into, and I see it going into an action anime direction. But for right now, it's just a comedy. And it might just remain a comedy, which I think it will be a disservice to the show. But if it actually transitions into that action part and gets better with action, this could be an amazing anime in the works. Overall, I gave it a 6.3. And it's going to be something to keep your eye out on. So that's So What, I'm a Spider. So I'm a Spider. So what? Next we have nostalgia on deck here. If you didn't hear about this, the new Inuyasha spinoff, Princess Half Demon. So basically, this is like a continuation of the Inuyasha series. It involves his child, Moroha, as well as the children of Shishomaru. That's what draws you in. Like this, out everything. You're like, Shishomaru? He got kids? What? Boom, let's go. Right? So he has actually twin girls, Towa and Setsuna. Twin girls? What? It's similar to Inuyasha. The whole feel of the show is Inuyasha. The whole crux of this show is to bring back the Inuyasha feel and the Inuyasha nostalgia. So you have the combination between the modern era and the feudal Japan. They're not necessarily the going between the worlds, but there is that intertwining of the two worlds. And so the three of them, they go on a journey to find Setsuna's memories, and this leads to multiple battles. This leads to a whole mystery of things that are going on in this world, like how does Setsuna lose her memories, what's going on with Inuyasha, what's going on with Shishomaru, what's going on with Kagome, who is the mother of the twins, who does Shishomaru get with, like what the but this show touches my heart. Honestly, I was a big fan of Inuyasha. I loved Inuyasha, and seeing this come back, definitely, especially with the same drawing and the same anime-like style as Inuyasha, definitely liked it. Granted, a little bit of me is a little sour, and I would have preferred the characters be guys, the main characters be guys, but I mean, I'm not trying to be sexist or nothing, but I think this show would have been a lot cooler if Shishomaru had boys than two girls. But hey, that's just me. That's just my opinion. I'm keeping it 100 with you, right? I gave this a 6.4. It's good to watch. It's a little sappy and a little, they get a little bit. It's a little sensitive, but so was Inuyasha. It's a little bit on the soft side, but so is Inuyasha. Inuyasha wasn't such a hardcore kind of anime where it was always just fighting. It was a combination of the romance plus the battles. And Princess Half Demon is no different, really. So keep an eye out, watch it. You won't be disappointed. Maybe. I'm not. Anyways, so Dragon Quest. So just like they did with Hunter x Hunter, they remade the old Dragon Quest. And Dragon Quest is also a video game as well. So in this fantasy world, the main hero Dai is this kid who lives on a remote island with monsters. He's being trained by monsters to try to train in magic and abilities. The history of this world is that a hero defeated a great demon along with his friends and saved the world. Dai dreams of becoming a great hero as well. And as he trains with his friends on this island, he meets this young princess who starts him down the path of obtaining his dreams. So, my thoughts when I originally saw on the original Dragon Quest was that I didn't like the animation. I didn't like the characters. and how they were drawn, and that does make you off-putting. It's off-putting sometimes. And so, with this new refurbished creation, I gave it a chance. I thought I would like Hunter x Hunter. I didn't really like Hunter x Hunter to begin with as well, but you have to see a show for what it is, right? And with the new animation style, the fact that they took the time to make a new animation, and to redo it, gave some merit to it, because I did give Hunter x Hunter a chance until they remade it, and this one is the same way. Although it's nowhere near Hunter x Hunter. Let's not get that twisted. It ain't on that level, but it's still good. Paying closer attention to it, I was quite impressed. The story is very simple, as well as the characters, and the attacks aren't overly flashy, but they're still kind of cool. So far the attacks are a bit too straightforward and simple, but the characters are learning stronger and stronger attacks. However, some of the attacks that they do learn are some of the more powerful magics that you would probably want or expect them to learn further down their journey. It's like they're becoming too powerful too quick. But overall, impressed. I like it. I gave it a 6.7. It's okay. I think it's definitely worth the watch. It has the potential to be a very good anime. And it is a good anime. I don't see it getting any better than what it is. I think it kind of peaked. But, like I said, I'm only midway through the series. I'll be pleasantly surprised if things develop a little bit more, giving it a little bit more depth. I'll be pleasantly surprised. Okay, so this next one, I'm saying it now. I said it from the beginning. I'll let all my friends know. I'm saying it here on YouTube. This will go down as a classic. I'm seeing it. I'm here with this one. Jujutsu Kaisen. This motherfucking anime. It's awesome. I mean, honestly, it's awesome. It's probably the best of this season. So just to give you a little bit of synopsis, a young teen named Yuji Itadori is unusually strong for a human. His grandfather, who passes away, tells him to use his strength for others. He's suddenly caught up in the middle of a situation caused by his school club, the occult club, when they unseal a cursed object. In this world, curses exist. Curses are spirits brought about through negative emotions and strengthened by consuming magic. The cursed object they release is his finger. It draws other cursed monsters to the school, causing a ruckus. Yuji gets mixed up in all of this, and in some kind of quick thinking scenario, he eats the finger. The secret to the finger is that it belongs to one of the most powerful cursed spirits to ever exist. And instead of getting taken over by the cursed spirit, he actually is able to control it to a certain degree. Kind of like a, I don't know, demon dwelling within you. I wonder, where have I heard that before? But anyways, so he eats a talisman, he's taken over, but he's able to control the spirit. Now this leads him down a path of battles, of disaster, of just mind-blowing things, right? My thoughts is that this series has it all, though. From a dramatic story that actually flows in the that actually has a beginning, middle, end kind of thing. It's actually flowing quite well. It makes sense. Its action sequences are awesome. on par with Naruto when he was going, during the fourth Great Ninja War. The moves are versatile. The moves are not one dimensional. Things keep building upon themselves. Each character has their own likes and dislikes. You get involved in this world really quickly, and you're going in there. You're rooting for the characters. I wish I did episode reviews of when I was watching this anime, because I was out of my seat. I was cheering. I was rooting. I was all in that bit. I was there for it. I was there for all the smoke. I gave this an 8.2. On some real shit. I would be very disheartened and very disappointed if it doesn't live up to that expectation throughout the whole show. And I think it will actually get better. And I honestly believe this one's going to be a classic. I think this is going to go down in the history books as one of the ones. Inuyasha, your Dragon Ball Z's, your Yu Yu Hakusho, I think it will be one of those ones come down the line. Once it all finishes and all is said and done, I think this one will be a star. So I gave it an 8.2. Check it out. Back arrow. So, these characters live in a world that's surrounded by a mystical wall. There's different nations and different factions in this world. It's basically like China, back in the day China when it had its different warring states, but it has this. But they're just surrounded by a mystical wall that no one knows if anything even exists outside the wall. Randomly, there are these capsules that are sent from the sky that have these rings inside of them. And these rings, when you put them on your arm, turn you into this big giant robot that's supposed to show or represent your conviction. Basically, your principles, your morals. It's supposed to be a representation of who you are on the inside, in the heart. One day this guy falls from one of these capsules. He's in the capsule. He comes out. Everybody's like, "What the hell? Where'd you come from? Who are you?" And his name becomes Back Arrow through whatever means. His name becomes Back Arrow. He wants to go on. He says he's from the other side of the wall, which people find hard to believe because they don't think anything exists beyond that wall. He wants to go back to the other side. He wants to go home. So this is the journey of him trying to get back home while everybody's trying to stop him for one reason or the other, right? With this anime, just to be honest with you, being candid with you, I'm not a fan of giant robot animes. There are a few exceptions, like Gundam, Rasafan, Escaflowne. Few exceptions. I'm not saying all giant robot anime is bad. I give each one a chance. But overall, I'm not a big fan of giant robot anime. And this one is not an exception. Not a fan. It's too dorky. It's just corny. The characters suck. And the animation is the characters and the animation are very basic. I'm not into the story. It's one of the ones where I put on this. I'll put it on. I'll watch it. But I put it on the side where I'm just like doing work or something else, and I'm just casually glancing over to see what's going on. And it's not hard to follow, which is good, but at the end of the day, And the robots look cool. I admit some of the robots actually look pretty cool. So, but overall, I give it a 5.6. So far, I'm just not interested in it. There's just nothing really to it, except for the robots look cool. But, hey, that's just my opinion. So the next one is bottom tier character Tomozaki-kun. Tomozaki is the best gamer at a game called TACFAM. TACFAM is a Super Smash Bros. Looking game. If you don't know what Super Smash Bros. Is, boom. And he considers Attack Film to be a god tier game. But as you suspect, to be the best at a game, they usually have these characters be NEETs. Those shut-in otaku guys who don't care about the outside world. They live in their 3D, three-dimensional world that's just on their keyboard or on a TV screen. He believes that reality is just no good, that it's unfair, it has no clear set of rules, horribly balanced, and doesn't make sense. But then he meets an unexpected gamer who tries to change his mind because that person believes that life is a god tier game. And that person is a she. And that starts a very comical relationship that adds a romantic aspect to the story. So, she's trying to teach him how to live in the real world. Or how to pass the game of life, right? Pass this game called life, right? Alright. The story isn't unique, like I said. It's one of those, it's one of those, like, She's All That kind of shows. If you guys remember that movie from the 90s, I think it was. But basically where the nerd gets to be made cool to, everybody's like, oh my god, I can't believe you're the same person. Oh. But, he's slowly getting popular. And I do like how it's not overly sentimental. It's not like everything's so dramatic, but you do get tired of the way that Tomozaki kind of views himself. Like, after the first two episodes, it was like, okay, I get it. You don't really like yourself. You don't think you're this handsome guy. You don't think you're much of anything. I get it. But, it can kind of get the self-pity thing kind of drains on you a little bit. But I gave this a 5.9. It's okay. It's okay so far. I don't think it's a show you can just dismiss, but I don't think it's gonna be something that you're gonna be excited to watch every week. It's okay. All right. So the next one is Quintessential Quintuplets. Now this one is actually in the second season. I liked the first season, and I'm liking the second season. I like the first season more though, but that's a story for another day. So overall, this guy Uesugi is academically gifted and poor as hell. Yeah, he's broke. He's hired as a tutor for these hot quintuplet sisters that get him into trouble and they trouble his life. But he's also living a nerd's dream, right? He gets 5 women that look the same, and gets to go inside their house. Obviously, some funny, comical situations will occur in this one. Overall, I gave it a 5.6. It's okay. It's interesting to see the different quintuplets and their characters and how Uesugi interacts with them. But it's just a good story. Good story animes are cool, and I really enjoy them, but they're not going to be on anyone's top popularity list, you know what I'm saying? So the next one is 2.43, Sane High School Volleyball Team. Basically, Kumashika Hajime and Yuni Kuroba are childhood friends in the town of Fukui. Hajime and Kuroba separated as kids when Hajime moved away, but now he came back due to some incident or some kind of trouble at his previous school involving volleyball. Hajima's this gifted volleyball player, and Kuroba is this kid who has potential to be awesome as well. The two get together, they make a powerful team in high school, but are surrounded by drama. The two join the Seiin High School club, volleyball club, and are trying their best to become the best. They're trying their best to become the best. My initial thought is that this is just a Haikyuu remake in a sense. I guess Haikyuu had a bigger impact on the anime world than I thought, and it had a lot of great reviews. I mean, the series is great. If you don't know what I'm talking about, boom, there it is, right? Because of Haikyuu, this one doesn't match up at all. It's not a shonen type sports anime. But the drama's there. The action packed scenes where they're smacking the balls and they're fighting over some kind of high school drama bullshit. It's fine. But Haikyuu kind of set the standard for this one, and kind of because that Haikyuu exists and it has done so well, this one definitely is not going to be on your radar. But it actually has I wouldn't say a better storyline, but the drama in this one is told a lot better than it is in Haikyuu. So I gave this one a 5.2. The animation isn't that great. It's cool. It's modern. It's nice, but it's not like anything that stands out. And it's basically just a cheap imitation of Haikyuu, basically. Give it a shot. So the next one is basically like two of the same series, but they're told in two different animes. So the first one's called Cells at Work, and the other one's called Cells at Work Black. Both series are just about what's happening on the inside of the body, of a human body, right? But it's told from the perspective that all the cells and diseases and inner workings of the body are made to look like the human world. So like everyone has a human body or face, or they're made to have cities inside the bodies, and everybody's just going about their daily working activities like any normal person in any normal day. So it's interesting. And the best thing about this one is that you learn a lot. You learn incredibly you learn a lot about the human body. But it's just there's no real story. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the overall point of the show is. I mean, I have my thoughts on where the show is going, and it kind of becomes obvious as the shows progress. But honestly, it's just a nice show to watch, but it really has no real purpose. I mean, I learned a lot about the body, and it's interesting to see the writers' take on if a cell or a blood cell or a white blood cell was real. What would their daily activities be like, and what would their personalities be like? And that causes for a hilarious situation. The characters are funny, and there are some drama that happens. So it's not over comical, but I don't know. It hasn't really sold on me that much, but I gave it a 5.5. It's decent. Give it a watch. For all the doctors out there, you'll definitely like the show. This show is for you guys, because then you can critique it all you want. It's like it's like lawyers watching Law and Order. You'll critique everything, and try to find the reality in it. It's funny, and I wish I could watch it with doctors so they can tell me or see how whether or not what's going on in the show is actually accurate or not. But it's cool to figure out. All right. the next one. This one is going down in my predictions as a classic. Boom! Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone. Now this one's on its second season too. Second season too? Ah, you see that? Alright. So this one's on its second season. They give you a overview of the show. Is that and remember, I'm only doing what the plot is. I'm not going into specifics about the show. I'm not doing any spoilers. So, out of nowhere, all of humanity is turned to stone by a bright green light. 3,700 years later, Senku Ishigami, a boy genius who was living back in the modern day, is able to depetrify himself and tries to save the world. Basically, he finds a way to depetrify people, and he starts with his one of his best friends. His best friend, actually, Taiju, and the girl Taiju likes. They end up in a dangerous situation where their lives are in danger, and so he depetrifies the world's strongest high schooler, Tsukasa. The two clash over how the world should be. Senku wants to save humanity by reviving everyone, including the adults. Tsukasa thinks the old world was tainted by adults and wants to revive a world based on strength and power. The two ideals clash. The world's smartest genius versus the world's strongest kid. Or I should say man, but he's a high schooler, so I'm not going to say man. He's a kid. But basically, it's brain versus brawn in the most interesting way. And what I like about this series is that it's kind of like Cells at Work. It teaches you a lot. But this show is unique, and it has piqued my curiosity from the beginning. Because it takes you through different eras. And I'm trying to be as careful as I can to not spoil anything. It is on its second season, so if you haven't figured it out now, by all means, go watch it. And I'm begging you to go watch it because you're not going to be disappointed. But it takes you through different eras of humans, of society. And going through those and seeing how we got to where we are today and what we would do if we were thrown back into the Stone Age like they are in this series, it does nothing but pique your curiosity. Now, granted, there is elements of action. There's fighting. There will be fighting, but this one is more on the subtle side. It's not going to be the flashy banging of like a Dragon Ball Z or of a Inuyasha or of a Naruto. But this one works on its subtlety. And it's like which one? I'm not going to say a Death Note because it's not dark like Death Note. But there's the intricate ways of how Senku plans on bringing science back to the world. And the writers and creators have to be constantly thinking in creative ways. The ingenuity in how they're going to bring these things to life in the show and progress society and progress humans out of the Stone Age. It's very interesting. I implore everybody, give it a shot, give it a chance. I gave this a 7.8. I think the show is brilliant. It could be a little bit more exciting. Don't get me wrong. There could be a little bit more excitement. And I think the excitement is yet to come. But watch Senku bring us out of the Stone Age. Watch. Alright, moving on. Weeks. It's Wixoss. I'm saying it wrong, I know, probably, but it's called Weeks Diva A Live. It's the fifth series, and it's the fifth um, uh, rendition of the Weeks series. I actually liked the first one, the first season or series of Weeks. But basically, this is a whole new story where they turn the the Weeks card game into a virtual reality game where the players can go, put on VRs and headbands and go into the game and create their characters where they become basically like divas. They battle it out, but also want to obtain support from fans. Although I did like the first series when I first saw it, I think it kind of fell short for me. It was actually very disappointing by the end of it, where I just didn't know where the hell they were going with the show. This one, it's okay, but it's just not for me. It's very sappy, overly sentimental, and everyone's too like lovey-dovey. It's just, I just don't. I don't buy it. I give this one a 4.3. I'll watch it just because I've watched the last. I think I've seen them all. Honestly, I think I've seen them all, and I don't actually know why I watch them. I mean, there has to be some kind of interest in it, but I don't know. It beats me. Anyways, 4.3. Check it out if you want to, but honestly, you're not missing out on anything. Now, The Promised Neverland, Season 2. If you don't know what The Promised Neverland is, then you're missing out. And you haven't been keeping your ear to the ground. Everybody knows about The Promised Neverland. Shit, it's on Cartoon Network. Alright? Basically, these kids are being raised at an orphanage and being adopted out. Come to find out, what was thought as an adoption was really the kids being given or sold to these demons to go get eaten. Apparently, kids who meet a certain criteria are considered like high-grade meat and are delicious for demons. This secret gets found out by Emma, Ray, and Norman. And they are trying to figure out how to escape from their ill fates. This one is just brilliantly done. And the only flaw in it is that, one of the flaws in it, it's kind of a major flaw, is that at the end of the day, these are kids. These are kids. So you know that situations are going to arise where, in reality, you're like, I don't think any kids will really do that. Or, I don't think these kids will really get away. But, from those particular, I don't think these kids will really get away from these particular situations. But it is told in a way where you also, at the same time, are like, I guess I see how they got away. I guess this might be a little bit believable. But it's honestly good. I mean, it's a dark anime to where, and by dark anime, I just want to explain. By dark anime, I mean that it's not for the faint of heart. It can go into some deep, gory avenues. That, you wouldn't, it's not a lighthearted story, basically. By dark anime, it's not a lighthearted story. It's not like one of those rah-rah ones. You're like, oh, shit. Shit just got real in this one. And it keeps getting darker as the series goes. As the mysteries are revealed, the plot gets thicker. It's in its second season, and it hasn't lost its touch. I mean, the only flaw, like I said, is that these are children, and these children are in these situations that you really wouldn't think children are going to get out of it. But honestly, it does a great job on telling the story. I gave this one a 7.6. I'm really hopeful about this series. There are some parts where, I'm like, I don't know what they're trying to do. I hope they get this together, because it can go up or it can go down. That's this kind of series. Like, it can be really great, or it's gonna fall on its ass and be really bad at the end of it, kind of like Game of Thrones. That hurt my heart just to say. We're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about that. Anyways, moving on. Hortensia Saga. This one's based on the video game as well, or it started out as a video game. They brought it to the anime world. It's set in a medieval fantasy world where there are kings and lords. The king is betrayed by one of his knights, and the knight rebuilds the kingdom under his own rule. But the heir to the throne, Marius, has come back to try to reclaim the throne. I think this is an okay anime. It definitely has potential, but it's a slow starting anime, and and so far it's not too much has been revealed, really. I think we're still, even 5 or 6 episodes into this show, we're still at the beginning phase, and we still haven't seen the main storyline come to light. I mean, obviously it's about Marius trying to get back the throne, but, how is this going to happen kind of thing, or if you can see where this anime is going kind of thing. We haven't really gotten to that point yet, and that's why it's like, come on, guys, just give me the nitty gritty here. Give me what I'm looking for here. Come on. Anyways, it's okay. I have hope for this anime. Don't get me wrong. It's slow starting. It won't catch your attention off rip, but I have it as a 6.4. And I think overall it might just end up being a 6.4 for the whole show, even by the end of it. I don't really see this one getting great, but it's going to be a good anime. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good anime. Just hang with it, stay with it, and I'm sure you won't be too disappointed. Or not disappointed. I don't know. Alright, so we have The 7 Deadly Sins. Season 4 has just come out. Season 5? Season 4. Either way, The 7 Deadly Sins has just come out with a new series. With a new season, I should say, in its series. The plot of The 7 Deadly Sins is that the strongest knights in Britannia have been trying to save the world ever since their names were destroyed. If you haven't seen it by now, I'm sorry. I'm gonna ruin one of the plots in one of the seasons, but their names were defamed. They cleared their names, and since they cleared their names, they've been trying to battle demons to save the world. I'm sorry. If you haven't seen the show yet, my apologies. But you were a little too late. Alright? You got 4 seasons. At least 4 seasons, alright? There's nothing I could do. I'm not responsible for that. You feel me? But the thoughts on it is that, I mean, I enjoyed every season. Even with the minor spoiler with that one, it's worth going back and watching it. And you're talking to a guy who, because of how much I love the series, I went back and actually read the manga, and the manga's done. I know everything that's about to happen, and I am staying with this series because I know it's going to get awesome. And yes, there will be times where you're just like, what the fuck is going to happen, and why is this happening? But I have hope for this series because although the animation isn't fantastic, it's not like a mind-blowing animation, and you find that a lot. There's not that many animes out there that have mind-blowing animation. They're good animations, good characters, they draw really well, but they're not like mind-blowing. They're not overly detailed. I mean, and you find that most animes aren't actually overly detailed in that sense, but they're all right. It's an okay show for its animation. The action scenes are what's on point. Now they do a good combination of the power-ups versus like the hand-to-hand combat. I enjoyed this. I enjoy each season of this series. I think the anime is very entertaining in both action and comedy, and you can easily fall in love with any of the characters. I've enjoyed the ride so far and will finish the series. I honestly already finished the manga, and I greatly enjoyed that show, that series. I enjoyed reading it. And the anime is actually what prompted me to read the manga, which happens a lot these days. Like Dragon Ball Super. I watched Dragon Ball Super, finished that series, and then now I caught up in the manga. It just happens sometimes. Sometimes seeing the series and seeing how good the series is, and knowing that there's a manga out, you want to see if there's a different take or if there's more that you were looking for that wasn't fully satisfied in the anime. Overall, I gave this a 7.4. And I think it's going to stay at 7.4 for the remainder of the time. It may go up a little bit, maybe go down a little bit. But overall, it's a good anime. Black Clover. Black Clover is in another season of Black Clover. Well, actually, I don't think it hasn't really done different seasons. It's just been one continuous show, and it's been really good at not taking breaks. Honestly, I'm very impressed. So, Asa and Yuno, they're two orphans. They dream of becoming the Wizard King. The Wizard King is the strongest being in their kingdom, called the Clover Kingdom. They join the Magic Knights to rise up in the ranks and to rise up in the ranks and protect the kingdom from other nations, enemies, and demons. So this is about Asa and Yuno on their journey to become the Wizard King, and whether or not they're going to be able to achieve their dreams. Kind of like with Naruto and the Hokage situation. You have to love the character Asa, and you have to love the character Yuno. Asa is a little bit overly annoying with all his yelling and screaming, but he's basically like your Goku, Naruto combined character, where Yuno is your Sasuke. I wouldn't say Vegeta because he's not as angry as Vegeta, but he's your second. He's not your main, but he's your co-main person. In the struggle between who's stronger is what's always being contested here. Who's better? Who's stronger? What abilities does one have versus the other one's abilities? I think it's already made it into the classic status arena. It was already being talked about as one of the new big threes, just like how it was Naruto, One Piece. It was part of that category of animes that just is taking over. And Black Clover, although I think its time has told in being named one of the big three, I think other animes may take over that spot. But Black Clover is honestly a fantastic anime. It's action-packed. Although Asa's a little bit annoying, its story and its characters each develop a life of their own. You're involved in so many different aspects of what's going on, and it continuously makes it exciting. Each season that comes out, each character that's coming out, new, old, in their journey, in their abilities. I mean, it honestly, it blows your mind that there's just so much in this one show that you will find yourself being drawn to. I gave this an 8.1. Just a great anime. And if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. Tensei Shitara Slime Data Kin. I tried to say the Japanese name of it, but anyways, it's called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Another reincarnation anime, but this one has a place in my heart. Love this anime. I think it's reached classic status. It's in the second season. I think it's reached classic status, and if it hasn't reached classic status yet, it will. The show is about a 37-year-old Satoru Mikami, who was a normal civil servant in Tokyo. He randomly died in a stabbing incident when he tried to protect one of his co-workers. He's reincarnated as a slime called Rimuru. And Rimuru has this huge power called Devour and another power called Great Sage. He uses these powers to become stronger and to try to survive in this new world that he's been reincarnated in. Although the anime style, the animation style is a little bit cartoony, it sounds. You'll get it when I say it. It's a little bit cartoony for my liking, but it's action packed. It's comical. It has its its action scenes are flashy. It's not for it's not where your main character is just strong, but he's smart as well. You know, he's not one of those dummies who just like power of friendship, hurrah! No, he actually has intelligence and uses his abilities in unique ways to try to win the situations. He's not the strongest in the world, but he will do his best to use what he has to the best of his abilities. That's the most I'll say about it, right? I gave this one a solid 8. Now, I gave it a solid 8 because, one, the animation is a little bit cartoony for my taste. However, I kind of contradict myself, but it's so close to being a classic that it's right there. And I was struggling. And I couldn't make up 8.1, 7.9. Solid 8. I capped out. I copped out. Hey, solid 8. It's a solid anime. I think you'll like it. I think you'll enjoy it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's in the second season. It's interesting. It will. I bet you'll be like, you'll make this face watching it. All right. Wonder Egg Priority. I'm not really sure what the plot of this one is. Basically, following the suicide of her friend, Oto loses her grip on reality and gets roped into purchasing an egg. When she sleeps, Ai saves people from adversity in this mysterious world while trying to move past the situation with her friend. I just don't know where this one is going, man. It's just, it reminds me of the styles of Kill la Kill. I think it's I just don't know where this one is going. I mean, it tries to be mysterious, colorful, and reimaginative, but it just comes off as confusing and chaotic most of the time. I give this one a 3.9. It's just trash. I'm sorry. Listen, if you're the animator and you see this, and mind you, I'm not done with the series, so it might make sense later on. But so far, it's just not worth my time. But I'm gonna keep watching it because I don't want to give something a review and not give it a fair chance. Like, I will watch all of these series to completion. We'll see where it goes. Right now, it's a 3.9. It's trash. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it. That's my opinion. But who knows? I'm just the anime connoisseur of the internet. The big zaddy of anime. That's zaddy with a Z. Don't forget the Z. You feel me? Anyways, we have this next one. I'm just going to read the English title. It's called Suppose a Kid from the Last Dungeon Moved to a Starter Town. These names, when they're translated into English, get more unique as we go on, right? So it's about these ancient survivors of humanity founded a village as their haven called Kunlun. Their descendants are to only assist humanity during extreme chaos. Kunlun is next to the last dungeon where powerful monsters exist. The protagonist, Lord Belladonna, believing he is the weakest, wants to be a soldier. So he travels to the kingdom of Azami to enroll in the military academy. Lloyd's abilities may actually prove of assistance to the kingdom. I like this show. It there's not enough action yet, but I see action coming. I like the potential of this show to where I can see it going, but so far it's just a comedy. Overall, it's just a romantic comedy, and it gives you the laughs that you want, but you're going to the show and you're like, oh, I know what you guys are doing. I see you mother. I see what you're doing. Just give me what I want, though. Give me what I want. But it's interesting, and I feel as though there's so much more to come in this show that hasn't been revealed. So far, it's one of those slow starters, and so it's not too slow to where you're not interested, but it is slow to where you're at the point. At least I'm at the point now where I'm like, I need more. You got to give me more to keep me interested in this one. So I gave it a 6.2 because I have high hopes for it. It has potential, and it's funny. It is funny. But if I don't get more, like I said earlier, it can go up, it can go down. This one's about to go down. And I mean down. Because if I don't get the more that I want, because the 6.2 I gave is on its potential. If I don't get the more that I want, I'm definitely going to have to downgrade this one as an overall anime. Alright, moving on to Skate the Infinity. Now this one's very simple. Skateboarders participate in a no-holds-barred downhill competition called S. Reki, who's your protagonist, is a high schooler who takes on a new transfer student named Langa as like his buddy, as his partner to one of the competitions, to one of the S competitions, and pulls Langa into his world. This one, it captures you right away with his bright animation and his bright lights. It's not like Akudama Drive where it's just like flashy all the time. You're like, fuck, I'm about to have a fucking seizure. But it's bright color, it's bright colors, bright animation style, and it's cool modern drawings. Really speak to me as a viewer. And I know it's going to speak to the younger generation, particularly about skateboarding. It's just a fun story. It's fun and loose. It's not too serious. It doesn't try to be too serious, because sometimes with sports animes they try to become too serious. Like, why are you trying to become a dark anime when you're about volleyball? Like, how dark can we really get for this? Or how, where are we going with this basketball or football, but they keep it light, they keep it funny, they keep it in the in what you would think a skateboarding anime would be about. It's very cool, edgy, fresh, whatever the young kids are saying these days, kind of bullshit. You get it. I gave this one a 5.9. Which isn't bad for what it is. For what this anime is, it's not bad. It's okay. It's worth the watch. You're not gonna give it too much attention, but you are gonna be at least drawn into the first few episodes before you lose interest. I'll say that much. I have not lost interest yet. I'm still here for the smoke. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Moving on, Kimono Jihen. Now this one almost fell off my radar. I didn't really think about it when I first saw the first episode, but as the second and the third episodes came about, I'm in it. I'm in this one. All right. So the plot is Kohachi Inugami is a detective that specializes in the supernatural. He arrives in a countryside village hired by a hotel or resort hostess to investigate a string of dead livestock. Inugami notices a boy who's isolated by other children and called Dorotabu because of his smell. Inugami discovers the boy has a secret that will open up a new world for the boy. He's a beast-like creature known as a kimono. This has major Tokyo Ghoul kind of vibes to it. But it's not as dark. At least not yet. It can go darker. It can be a little bit more serious and have a little bit more gore, I guess you could say, or mystery about it. But I don't see it reaching anywhere near the dark, well, going the route of Tokyo Ghoul. But it has Tokyo Ghoul vibes. Potential definitely with this one. It's an anime with where the more episodes that come out, the more the story is expanding, the more the characters are expanding, and the more you get involved. It is one of those ones where it's not slow starting, but it's not going to start as a peak. Like, it's going to start out with a mellow kind of vibe where you're just like this. And then the more and more the story comes out, the more and more episodes that come out, you're... Okay, I'll fuck with this. Alright, I can't help but think that this is going to be an awesome anime. It's just too soon to call it. So I have it as a 6.6 for now. We'll see how things go. We'll see how things progress. I feel like it's going to be an awesome anime, but I also have a fear that it might it won't go dark enough. And when you watch the anime, you'll see what I'm talking about. But give it a shot. Alright. Other Side Picnic. Other Side Picnics is about this other world that coexists with the human world. And it's only found through portals in the human world. The other world, as it's called, is home to dangerous creatures. The two protagonists, Saraho and Nishina, they meet during a fated encounter with one of those creatures from the other world. Nishina ropes Saraho into finding her friend Sasuke. Sasuke is thought to be somewhere in the other world. This one is so far no good. The story hasn't been explored enough yet to where it's kind of like World Egg Priority, right? You have this, except it's not as flashy. You have this vague concept that by the 5th or 6th episode, I'm still like, what are we really doing here? Where is the story going? What's really happening? I don't really know. But overall, it's just not doing it for me. I mean, the characters are overly sympathetic. There's no excitement. There doesn't seem to be any uniformity or consistency in the plot. And I just don't like the characters. There's this one character that's just been introduced that actually has piqued my interest. As far as, when compared to the others. But not sold on it. So far, no good. I gave this one a 3.3. Anywho, X-Arm. Moving on, right? X-Arm is a disappointment. I don't know what they thought this was going to be, but whatever they thought it is not. Alright, so a kid, Akira Natsune, is scared of electronics, but also has a talent for repairing them and using them. During his daily life, he dies and is reawoken 16 years later by a special policewoman. He is now currently an AI and superweapon called X-Arm. It's just straight trash. I mean, it's trying to be this new age anime, so very innovative and and edgy and cool, but it just falls short in every aspect of it. The same thing as with Other Side Picnic and with World Egg Priority. If the story sucks, if you can't really follow what the hell is going on in the story, you lose interest immediately. That's just how it is. And then the action scenes aren't even that cool at this point. There really isn't that much action. I mean, that's not true. I mean, there's action in it, but it just falls short because I mean it doesn't have an identity as a series. So what are you trying to be basically? Let me know. Help me to help you. Help me to help you. Right? Help me. Help me figure out what the fuck you're doing. Alright? Anyways. Sorry, I kind of just lost my cool there a little bit. My bad. Anyways. 2.6. Don't watch it. Throw it away. I'll let you know if you should ever even try it. I'll let you know. Moving on. I don't even want to waste any more time on it. Alright. So the next one is Mushoku Tensei Iseki Itara Honki Dasu. Listen. I don't know what that means. I just tried my best to pronounce it. But basically, this one has a grown man who is a NEET. Just like we discussed in the bottom tier character Tomazaki-kun, who, you know, he lived inside his room playing video games. He was a grown-ass man, not a high schooler. But basically he was a loser. He died and was reincarnated into this new world that's filled with magic and beasts. Not a unique story, but he wants to live a successful life this time around and hopes that he will be successful. Not a unique story like I just said, but this show wins on comedy. This show will win on its action potential because there's no action yet. There's not. I hate to say it, like I hate making predictions based on my own personal thoughts on how the show will go, but I see this show for where it's going. And so as an anime connoisseur, as a man who's watched thousands of anime, and I'm not even kidding with you, I've watched thousands of anime, I am pretty sure this anime will go into the action realm. And that's why I gave it a 7.7. It's a slow starter, and the only thing that keeps you captivated is the artwork, which is very like movie-like kind of animation style. Very impressed by the artwork and the actual animation. It's not overly flashy, but it is crisp. But so the comedy is what keeps you in, and the storyline is what gets you in. But you can see that when there's magic involved, you see where this magic is going, that there's going to be levels to this, that is not just going to stay at a basic level with the storyline. This will get better, and I see it getting better. If I were just to go off of my initial thoughts on the anime based on what I've seen, this would probably be about a 5.2. Nah, 5.6. Yeah, about 5.6. Because even what I saw so far was it's hilarious. But I see this as a 7.7 because I'm waiting for the action scenes to come in. And when they do, I'm telling you, you will be impressed. You will like it, and you're gonna do that soft clap. And then you're gonna come back and you're gonna hit subscribe. So another anime that I really like is Shuka Ichiban. Shuka Ichiban. It's in the second season, and the premise is that the youngest Guangzhou special chef, Mao, decided to travel around China to learn about food. Upon his return, he discovers the underground society has come to light, and they're seeking the legendary utensils to try to do world domination. This is this is like Shokugeki no Soma, Food Wars, but it's not as shonen as Food Wars. It's not as battle-esque like. But there are those battle kind of scenes, and I mean, it's definitely just an interesting anime. And I gotta admit, I love watching the food shows for how food is prepared, particularly Food Wars. The over exaggeration of how these flavors hit the palate and how they just make your body feel and explode with energy. It makes you laugh thinking about it, but it's drawn in an old school kind of fashion. Like, you would think this anime came from like 1980s, honestly, with the way it's drawn. But it also gives it a bit of its character. It's not trying to be a shonen anime. But at the same time, though, it's fun to watch. But overall, cooking to save the world or to save China is pretty ridiculous. And I thought the same thing with Shokugeki no Soma. I mean, if you're actually putting any credit to the reality of the situation, then, I mean, that's ridiculous. I gave this one a 6.1. I think it's a good anime. It's okay. It's not going to get any better, really, as far as overall what you're going to expect from it. But it's good. It's good, and it satisfies your palate and what you're looking for in an anime. See what I did there? Anyways, Hormia. Okay, Hormia is about Izumi Miyamuro being a nerdy individual, and Kyoko Hori is a popular high school girl. These two are in high school. On the surface, Izumi is unassuming. He's nerdy. Nobody pays attention to him. He goes unnoticed. But all isn't what it seems when it comes to him. And you discover this because of a chance encounter with Hori. This romantic comedy unfolds after that chance encounter. It's cute so far. I mean, those are my thoughts. It's cute. It's not bad, not great. It's just cute. It's just a cute story. And it has its own merits. I'm going to continue watching it. I gave this a 5.3. It's not bad. It shouldn't. It's not going to be shunned. But it's just one of those ones where it's a good story, good romantic comedy where you'll laugh, you'll be invested, you'll say, but it's just fun to watch. Alright, Dr. Ramade, Mysterious Disease Specialist. Now, this show is about a doctor who specializes in specific, unique diseases, right? When people are afflicted with strange and unexplainable diseases, they come seeking Dr. Ramade for a cure. He's a quirky, free-spirited individual who finds unique ways to cure people. I like this show. It's very interesting. I haven't seen many like this one, actually. Not necessarily because of the character type that Dr. Ramade is, but the afflictions and the causes of those afflictions, as well as the cures to the afflictions, are very interesting, and they are actually what keep you, what appeal to you the most about this show. I think I know I'm gonna keep watching. So I gave this a 6.5. I think there's a lot of aspects of this anime that are very appealing to people, and that appeal to me, particularly the afflictions and the causes of those afflictions. Um, It's not such a lighthearted anime. It's not what I would characterize as a dark anime yet, but it's not so lighthearted to where you're just gonna get all that touchy feely good stuff, But you are gonna be weirded out by what occurs with the people who come see the doctor, the good doctor. So 6.5. I really like this one. I think it's gonna do well overall, and I think people are going to enjoy it. World Trigger. This one is just reaching the point of awesomeness. It's in the second season, so let me just start with the plot. So in Mikado City, there are these things called gates to a different world that continue to open up, and monsters come into the human world through them. These monsters are called neighbors. They overwhelm humanity until a special force called Border uses the neighbors' technology to fight against them. This technology is turned into weapons called triggers, which transfers human energy, Trion, into energy for the weapon. A kid named Yuma Kuga appears at a local school and meets Asamu, who turns out to be part of Border. The two develop a relationship that leads them both down a path of adversity. My thoughts on this one is that you're not going to watch it for the animation or the drawings or the artistic work, but you are going to watch it because you will fall in love and become interested in the characters, in their abilities, in the way they use these simple concepts in different ways. Versatility. You want the versatility. You want to be able to see abilities used in different ways. In the way that these characters use them kind of explains their personalities as well. There's character development, there's story development, there's power development. There's not a point where these characters are so overwhelmingly powerful that they just make the others irrelevant. No. Everybody, I mean the wide world that this one is, everybody is on par with each other. I mean, granted, there's always going to be those elites versus those mediocre, but everyone is still in a good range at this point. No one's overly powerful to where you're like, oh, that guy's the most powerful in this world, or this one's the most powerful in the world, or this guy's the one who's going to always win this battle. No, it's not like that, and I'm glad about that. It's different. It keeps you interested. And a lot of these things, and a lot of the things about this show is that it's not overly flashy. It's not trying to be one of those other popular anime series or popular shows. But it has its own uniqueness to it. And it has its own aspects that come shining through, particularly when it comes to the abilities and how those abilities are used in combat. I gave this one a 7.2. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Don't let the artwork fool you. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. And the last one, which I'm not going to get into, just because, honestly, I want to delve into it so badly on its own level, in its own video, that I might even make longer than this one. I'm just kidding. Maybe. It's Attack on Titan. The final season. Trust me when I tell you this. From start to finish, this series has been fantastic. It's a classic. It will go down as a great anime. You will never forget this one. Honestly, it's like Death Note. It's just, for some reason, it's just unforgettable. and it just, this season has so far has been everything I could have expected it could be. I'm also reading the manga, so I have a little bit more insight into everything than those who don't watch or don't read the manga. But trust me, you are not missing out on anything. Between the anime and the manga, you're not missing out on anything. So trust me when I say, by the time the series ends, you'll know just as much as everybody else. Yes, there are a few aspects that might be a little bit different, but for the most part, everything has stayed the same. The story has stayed the same. And I honestly will tell you that this series, in its final season, will not disappoint. But if you are interested in hearing some of my thoughts on Attack on Titan, particularly with season 1, check out my boy Mr. Red. Me and him, he invited me onto his channel to do a little sit down interview to speak about season 1. Here's the link. Check us out. It's just a brief discussion into the show. Honestly, you can go on and you can talk about this, for hours. Each season you can talk about for hours. And the different aspects and the different mysteries that are being revealed, and the different questions that continue to come up. That's what this kind of series is. It's a series that doesn't stop giving until it's finally done. So, I'll save the Attack on Titan for another day. Whew! Jesus. Oh, give me one. Woo! That took a while. This was a long video, and I know most people won't watch the whole thing from start to finish, but what I hope to gain from doing these season reviews is that you, as an audience, get new animes to check out, and that your universe, your anime universe, is expanding. That's one of my purposes. Go see my description. I literally say I want to see your universe expand, and for you to stop being basic in what you watch. Move from anime basic to anime fanatic. You feel me? But this is one of the longer ones. I mean, when I do a season review, honestly, we reviewed about 32 episodes. 32 series of anime. And I watch these animes every week, every day, whenever new episodes pop up. They're going on now. You can jump in to the story and go watch it. Now, trust me, if I was able to help you out and give you some new shows to watch, new animes to watch, and gave you some insight on some of the animes that you were watching, by all means, hit subscribe, follow along. I will definitely go into different animes in depth, like Jujutsu Kaisen, like World Trigger, like that time I got reincarnated as a slime, Seven Deadly Sins, Black Clover. I just love anime, and I just want to share it with the world. So, please, if anything like this rang true, or you were like, hey, thank you for that advice, thank you for that recommendation, you know what, you were spot on with that recommendation, with that review of that anime, and you know what, I want to know more because you're a guy who keeps it 100 with me. Hit subscribe, click the link, hit subscribe, comment below, let me know what you think. Let me know if you're watching those animes. Let me know if I gave you a good review. Let me know if I was accurate. Let me know if there's something that I should review for you, or if you want me to check out because you want an opinion on it, or if you just want to, if you've seen a show and you want to talk about it. I'm happy to talk to you about different shows that you might be interested in. Hell, you might even show me a show because I know I don't know everything that's out there. However, being the connoisseur that I am, I'm willing to try new flavors. Anyways, I know it's been a long day. Trust me, I feel it just as much as you do. At least you get to click away at different aspects of the video. I have to record the whole thing, so I've been sitting here for a while. But honestly, it doesn't even feel like it doesn't feel like work, and that's what I love to do. All right, it's your boy Big Jinx, the big zaddy of anime. That's zaddy with a Z. Don't forget the Z. The world's first anime connoisseur. It's been a pleasure.